All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first is opportunity for questions or comments from the public. Being none, then we'll move on to the approval list of checks.
Just to bring council's attention, so your checklist for this month, $977,000, $800,000 of that is for our quarterly police pension payment. Also, the checks that you'll be ratifying, considered to ratify this evening, the park improvement fund of $1,100, that was for our title company fees for the transfer of the land for the Southeast Clear Zone. And the $11,900 was for our newsletter, our township newsletter. So we cut those checks before tonight's meeting to transfer that land and also to get our newsletter to the printer and post office, and our residents should be receiving it this week.
Hey, if there's no questions, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the list of checks and all funds in the amount of $977,000, or $977,658.33, and further move to authorize payment as same. I also move to ratify the list of checks.
Okay.
The list of checks in the Park Improvement Fund in the amount of $1,160.75, and in the General Fund in the amount of $11,918.70, and further move to authorize payment of same.
Now I second it.
There you go. Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, next we have three zoning hearing board applications that we need to review tonight, Bill.
Yes, sir. Two are residential, one's commercial. The first one is 612 Eugenia Road. That was continued. You saw that for the first time, your fourth Monday meeting in May. The applicant's attorney, Mr. Lewis, is here this evening. You asked the applicant to continue so the township engineer could go on site to look at possible stormwater options. And Mr. Lewis is here, and as well as our engineer here to give you a report.
Hi, good evening. There we go, better. So good evening. Rob Lewis from Kaplan Stewart, representing Julia.
Can you move the mic a little closer, please?
Sure.
There we go. It wasn't on.
Representing Julia and Nick Donafry. As was indicated, we were here last month talking about their proposed improvements to 612 Eugenia. And if you'll recall, at the time, we were talking about roughly 700 square feet or so of proposed impervious in two phases for landscape improvements to the rear, a patio, and then ultimately a walkway leading all the way around to the driveway and so forth. The lot being tremendously undersized for the zoning district and what have you. And the board expressed some concern about the additional impervious and particularly the percentage of impervious within the zoning district. So we continued the hearing at that time, and since that time, I've actually had the opportunity to meet with the township engineer on site. We walked the property, talked about it quite a bit. Also, staff was present at that meeting. I then met with my clients and met with the contractor. And given all the constraints that are out there, it's a challenging site. There's a stormwater management report from when this house was constructed, talking about the lack of permeability of the soils and things of that nature. What my clients are willing to do is actually substantially change their plan and completely eliminate phase 2 of this project, bringing it down to, I think the calculation was 315 square feet of total proposed impervious. Which would end up simply being the patio. They would forego the remainder. They may at some point put in pea gravel or something to allow them to walk around front, but nothing that would amount to impervious surface. So we formally amended our application. I sent in a letter to the zoning hearing board indicating our request to amend the application to only be phase 1. And I'm here this evening in case you have any further questions, comments, or concerns.
So where does that bring us, Bill, as far as the percentages?
You would be at 33%. So existing is 28.4%, and what they're proposing is 33%. I do believe it's a compromise. As Mr. Lewis said, this is an extremely small lot in our R3 zoning. I think it's around 9,000 square feet.
6,900 square feet.
6,900
It's really
square
small.
feet, where 32,000 square feet is the zoning for this district. So the house was built as a legal non-conforming in 2012, I believe, and they made the site better when they built the new house by reducing the impervious coverage and reducing setbacks from the house that was there prior. Had even more impervious coverage with multiple sheds, detached garage, and other things. So I do believe it's a fair compromise with them amending their application.
Your recommendation is neutral?
Neutral with any,
As Bill said, the house that was built was less than the existing house, and they did install an underground seepage pit with that new house, so I wouldn't even suggest a condition, because they're already ahead of the game. You know, if this was the existing house and they were gonna put this patio on, I would say, let's do a seepage pit, but they already did it. So I would be neutral with no conditions here.
Is okay? Okay, you're good to go.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
have a
Thank
good
you, Bill.
night.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you. Next is the Westgate Realty Partners.
So this is 120 Welsh Road. We're all familiar with Westgate Shopping Center. It's out front is where the future Copper Crow will be, as well as the AT&T store and a few other stores. And then in between is the Abington Hospital building, and then behind them is a business that's been there, and it's their variances that they need. They had to do an addition or they lose the company. So one thing we don't want to do in Horsham is lose any more companies than what we have lost. It is extremely hard nowadays to attract companies because mainly they're not moving, they're not expanding at the moment, they're not growing at the moment because of the COVID pandemic. So when you have a company in town, and this company's been in town, they were located in the Horsham Business Center, and they relocated to this building, this larger building at Westgate on Welsh Road. But now they're out of space here. There's not another building in our office park that can take them on that's vacant. So either an addition has to be put onto this building, or most likely they will relocate outside of the township. So it is a life sciences, health sciences, pharmaceutical company with living wage jobs, probably over 200 jobs. So they are here tonight to seek a variances for parking and impervious coverage.
Yes. Good evening, Kristen Pianzio from Hamburg, Rubin, Mullen, Maxwell, and Lupin. I'm here with Adam Goodman of Goodman Properties, as well as Gary Tilford, who's our civil engineer. The variances that we're asking for are arguably de minimis. We're adding 0.58% more impervious coverage. It is existing non-conforming because it existed before you did the business park district. So the limitation is 60%. We're just a hair over 70%, but the increase, we're really increasing over existing parking. So 0.58% for impervious, and the parking as well, I would think, is de minimis. We're required to have 670, and we're at 664. So just 6 shy. There is a cross-access easement among the whole property for shared parking, and with the timing changes of the different uses, it'll work fine. AVO wouldn't put the money into this addition unless they thought it would work for them. So we want to go to the zoning hearing board with neutral, or a positive recommendation is always welcome.
So it's 6 shy of the required parking, and what's the percentage, Bill? Less than half a point?
Yep.
Yeah, they have
0.58.
existing is 70.9%, and they would go to 71.6%.
See any issues here?
And that's what it would.
With
new
keeping
building
the
would
company
look
in
like.
town, which is very important for us as well.
Yeah, and they're able to put the addition on while still operating, because they can put it on the front over the existing impervious surface and then just cut through in 2 spots when they're done. So it's really a great opportunity to keep them here because they need the space or they'd have to go.
But it's good. Good
Great.
luck.
Thank you. Good to see you.
You too. Have a great night.
You too.
Next is Martin Palmer, Avenue A.
So this is a single-family home, and what they would like to do is demolish the old home. It takes a while for this to come up a second. So that's what the existing looks like there on Avenue A. It's an existing single-family home. It's a very old home built a long time, decades and decades ago, in the 1950s, maybe even the 1940s. And what they'd like to do is knock down the existing home and construct a new home, which would be a major improvement to the property and the neighborhood. So the variance that they would need is they're allowed a minimum of 8,000 square feet for lot size, but they would be at 7,200 square feet with the to construct this new home. So the staff's recommendation is neutral.
That's it?
That's the only variance they need.
Okay, no, my opinion is that, with the changes going on in that neighborhood, they've all been very positive changes, so I have no objection. All right, well, that was easy. We'll go neutral on that as well. So the next item on the agenda is the results of a bid for sidewalk installation at Whitmer and Prudential.
So as council knows, you authorized to go out to bid for sidewalks at the intersection of Whitmer Road and Prudential. And what these sidewalks will do will connect the new sidewalk at the 555 Flats on Whitmer Road and bring it around to the existing sidewalk at Lakeside. So to make that connection, but also prepare us for the street lamps that are coming in the future. And we did receive 7 bids. The bids range is in your packet, but the bid range was highest was $135,148.45, and the lowest bid was $81,873.26 by G&B Construction, which is the staff's recommendation for you this evening for your consideration for the project. We hope to get this done, this project done this late summer, early fall, once all the paperwork and contracts are done. It was good news, too. It was under our budget amount. We had budgeted $105,000 for the sidewalks, so it came in under the budget amount.
We used GMB before?
Yes, they've done most of the sidewalks on Drescher Road for us.
Good. If there's no questions, do we have a motion?
I move to award the sidewalk installation bid at Whitmer Road and Prudential Road to G&B Construction in the amount of $81,873.26, and hereby authorize execution of the contract for same.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Lastly, we have an update on our public and private projects here in Horsham.
I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of what's going on in Horsham. Since you had a short agenda, I thought I would keep you here a few more minutes to tell you some updates on some projects. So the Regency at Waterside, that's Limekill Golf Course, the Toll Brothers. They have throughout the month of July, they're having VIP events. They had one this weekend. They had 300 people come this past weekend. They go public for sales starting in August. Their time frame is that they hope to have models completed in this fall, all the paving done for phase 1 by the end of the year, and then occupancy in 2022, and most likely the second or third quarter of next year for occupancy of homes in phase 1. The Road
Can I
Minelo,
stop you there a second? Are they building the clubhouse first, right?
yeah, they're starting construction on that. They're probably starting, they had their building permit in for review, the plans, so they're hoping to get that constructed this fall. by the
All
end of
the
year.
paving and then the construction of the clubhouse will be this year.
Yes. It's a little, on phase 1 or the total? Total is almost 500.
Phase 1.
Don't know at the top.
What day?
What day is it? All right, very good. Any other questions on that one? Okay.
The Rominolo property, which is at County Line Road and Keith Valley Road, you have given them final approval. They have submitted their final plans. The Planning Commission will be reviewing those plans in August, so you'll be reviewing their final plans in late August or September. Wild Fork Foods at Eastern Road and County Line Road, they're moving along. They're scheduled to be open to the public by the end of this year. 890 Eastern Road.
Wild Forks.
Yes.
When's the last time you talked to them? And the only reason I'm asking, I mean, they were moving after we did the approvals. They knocked the building down and then stopped.
PennDOT permits.
Is that what they're waiting on?
Yeah. And also what's behind, and I don't know if they need one, but you'll see it on the school district, is the DEP, their NPDES permits for all projects are behind a lot. So, 89, but Wild Forks is primarily PennDOT held up. 890 Eastern Road Dentist Office, it's just been slow moving. They just got issued a final review letter from our engineer, and there's the comments, there's not anything major, it's just minor stuff. They too were waiting on PennDOT permits, which they have now. So hopefully they will address the final few comments and get their plans recorded and get to construction. But I do keep in contact with the owner, and he is still highly interested and looking forward to the project. Copper Crow Restaurant on Welsh Road, they're looking for an opening in September. That's pushed back because of what everyone else is experiencing too, shortage of labor and supplies and material. So they've pushed that back from July to September. The car wash on Eastern Road, as you know, the sketch plan has been reviewed by the Planning Commission and Council. I do not know why, but they have not yet submitted their land development application, but they do have the property under agreement of sale. So I suspect we'll see something soon from them. Hankin property on Eastern Road, as we know, is under agreement of sale. And the developer is working towards starting phase one, which is the residential portion that has final approval. So he's getting everything in line to start phase one, which is the townhomes in the rear of the property. The new Keith Valley Middle School, the school board has approved the commencement of the Keith Valley Middle School design. So we do already have a staff meeting set up with the school district team to start planning the new middle school. At the latest, according to the superintendent, they're hoping to have the school opened in August of 2025 at the latest, hopefully sooner than that. So it's starting to, you'll be seeing that come in front of you in the coming months ahead. The restaurant pad at 720 Blair Mill Road, which is in front of the Hilton Homewood Suites, that was part of, that has already received land development approval. There is a restaurant that has been working closely with the property owner, and the property owner asked for me to meet with them, and I did, and the last I heard from them, they are coming, but it's not public information on who it is because they do not have the lease agreement finally finalized yet. But it was a very good meeting and with their corporate officials. So it looks like we'll be having a restaurant finally come to that pad. 400 Lakeside Drive, if you've been up and down Drescher Road, the berm that is along Drescher Road is right next door to the Extended Stay Hotel. Workspace property, they took that berm, they removed the berm, and to make the building more visible and marketable. It's a vacant building that they have, so they wanted to take it down to landscape it up and put new trees up and so people could see the building from the road. So a lot of people may ask us, what's happening? What's going on? You know, we see all that dirt moving. That's what's happening out there. They just took the berm down. The high school athletic turf field, as I mentioned, the school district is waiting for their NPDES permit for the project. DEP and the Soil Conservation Office is behind on issuing those permits across the county. Myonex on Progress Drive is scheduled to be opening next month. Kulik and Safa on Precision Drive, they're taking a vacant building on Precision Drive. They're opening in July. That'll be about 200 to 300 jobs coming in on Precision Drive in that building. Workspace, as you know, you saw their signage, their new signage the zoning hearing board did not give them a same-night decision in June, so they're due for a decision from the zoning hearing board in July, and then hopefully if it's a approval, that they'll get going with their signage and hopefully get it up by Labor Day. As you know, the Horsham Soccer Association has a turf field project that they're looking to get money to do. They submitted one state grant already. They're working on a second state grant application, and they will be kicking off a capital fundraising campaign soon. The Power Line Trail extension to Lower State Road, as council's aware, we plug monies in our 2021 budget for engineering to acquire the permits. There's a lot of different permits we have to require because there's the Little Neshaminy Creek as well as a tributary that we have to cross to reach Lower State Road. PICO has not given us approval to begin that process. And what PICO's been doing the last couple of years is studying their future energy requirements. These high tension, high power line that stretch across our township. The reality is they're never going to be able to build another one, a brand new one, anywhere. So what they had commissioned a study on is the ones that they have, do they need to up the electric to service their customers in the region? And if they up the electric, what does that mean to anyone walking underneath the power lines? So we hope to hear from them in July or August if we can continue our trail to Lower State Road. And again, the engineering is about a 18-month process. So we were hoping to get the engineering done this year and half of next year, and then go to construction in fall of 2022. But this project will probably be, in reality, a 2023 project as long as PICO gives us that go-ahead. The Lukens Park Trail is under construction. It's the asphalt trail along Drescher Road that connects the Lukens Park entrance to the Power Line Trail. The Horsham Road and Drescher Road intersection improvement, that's now complete. And we're looking for grants to landscape the two islands on the two corners. We know we have to irrigate them, so we're looking for grant money that would allow us to run a water line to each island to put a irrigation head in them so we can plant them and they would have the water. Sidewalks you just awarded the sidewalks at Whitmer Road and Prudential Road. So it was on your agenda for this evening, and it'll be done late summer or fall of this year. The street light project through the business campus, which is about 90 street lights, we're expecting to get the signed grant agreement from PennDOT in September/October of this year, and then at that point we can go to bid. So this project will be a project for 2022. We use the fall to get this agreement back from PennDOT. They don't allow us to go to bid until we get the agreement back. They have our signed agreement, and it usually takes them 3 to 4 months to return it to us signed. And then we can go to bid on the project this fall. We'll award the contract, do all the paperwork, and then it'll be done probably in the summertime of next year. Drescher Road and Walnut Grove Drive traffic signal, which is also part of your 2020 bid budget. That's scheduled to go to bid this fall, and installation hopefully completed by the end of 2022. Blair Mill Road and the Horsham Gate Willow Point traffic signal. This is a traffic signal that PennDOT required of Goodman Properties for their highway occupancy permit for 132 Welsh Road. So when Goodman Properties got their PennDOT permit for where the Chick-fil-A and the Chase Bank and the Wawa are located on Welsh Road, PennDOT put a requirement on Goodman Properties that they have to, as part of their permit conditions, they had to install a new traffic signal at the driveways coming out of the shopping centers on Blue Mill Road. That is under review by PennDOT currently, and as we know, it can take up to a year to get a traffic signal once it's ordered. So this project too would probably be a late 2022 project for that traffic signal to go in, but it's, as we all know, it's definitely needed out there. If you've ever tried to make a left, it's very dangerous out there. Blair Mill Road widening Phase 2 project. So myself and Eric Ferrari, our engineer on the project, we made, with Jim Hirsch's help from Gilmore, we made a presentation to the Upper Moreland Township Commissioners. because we had to reroute our storm drains because of a pico duct that was not known about. So we had to take our stormwater down Commerce Avenue, which is owned by Upper Moreland. So they were very receptive. They were very supportive of the project. So they gave their approval for that. The plans have been resubmitted to be reviewed by PennDOT. The right-of-way acquisition hopefully will be completed by the end of the summer, and we can go to bid this fall, thus construction in 2022. The Horsham Road and Limekiln Pike intersection project, we are currently in right-of-way acquisition. It is, knock on wood, it is going very well with the residents. We've spent a lot of time with the residents. And as I've told them all, I would be at the table with them. And so that's going well right now. And we hope to have the right-of-way acquisition mostly completed by the end of the year, but hope it might go into early next year. But we're hoping to go out to bid early next year, and then most likely with all the paperwork. This is a $10 to $12 million project, so it's a pretty extensive project. So construction's most likely in early 2023. County Line Road project, which is not a township project. This is a 5-year PennDOT project that stretches from Lower State Road to Eastern Road. This is year 1. And in year 1, what they're doing is clearing. You probably see a lot of trees. If you go up and down County Line Road, they're clearing the trees and utility relocation, as you know, the PennDOT pole guide wire issue. So the year 1 is clearing and utility relocation. Horsham Road and Drescher Road, we did that already. That's a repeat. Administratively, we're currently, as council gave the approval, refinancing our library bond. There's a lot of work and a lot of paperwork behind scenes with Moody's and others getting all that together to go out to the market. The American Rescue Plan funding application, many of you probably heard of the American Rescue Plan. So this is the first time since the 1970s that the federal government is giving local municipalities money directly. It's going through the states, and then it channels to the local municipalities. They had promised us it was going to be a very easy process a few months ago. And that basically it's one page, and it's based upon your population, and you get a certain amount of money. You will be audited. Every municipality will be audited to make sure you spend it according to what the Treasury guidelines are. If you don't, you have to pay the Treasury back. So it's pretty. Everyone thought it was pretty simple. It turned out to be a 40-page application with many exhibits, many addendas. And it took me about 2 weeks between everything else. I just submitted it this past Friday. Submitted it doesn't mean it's done. Submitted it means it's under review now, and they'll surely have questions and comments for me to fill back in. But once we get approval, then I'll be back and I'll do a presentation in front of you of what we can use the monies for. We're in line for about $2.7 million. We get half of it this year, half of it next year. The guidelines are very strict on what it can be used for. So I'll have a presentation once I get through this application process and our application is approved. Our 2020 audit is in process. As you know, we are out publicly advertising for a Director of Public Works, a Director of Finance. As the weeks and a couple months go by, the other positions, Assistant Director of Public Works, Administrative Secretary, Police Officer, and Public Works Laborer, in the months ahead over the summer and the fall, we'll be putting out for them too, to get our staff levels back up. As you saw the slides prior to this slide, there's a lot going on, and that's a snapshot. That's a snapshot. If you throw in what the Water and Sewer Authority is doing, what MIRI is doing, and other things that I forgot to put on the slides this evening, there's a lot going on. So we do, and these aren't new positions. These are current positions that we've just left vacant. But I'm pretty confident that the 4 positions that at the that we left vacant this year for funding reasons, that our COVID funding that we'll be receiving can be used to replace those positions. And that is it.
Wow. A lot going on in Horsham these days, huh?
Yes. It's all good stuff. It is. It's a lot.
It is all good stuff, and a lot of it stretches out over the next couple of years, but it's always good to have an update on everything that's going on, because you kind of lose track of what's happening sometimes, because there is so much going on.
It is.
Keep up the good work, you guys.
Thank you. I try. It's all good, though.
So Bill just asked me if we need to fill out a grant application, to fill out the application for the American Rescue.
Might take the whole grant to pay for filling out the application.
There are towns that actually hired consultants to do that for them,
You weren't far off the ballgame there, huh?
because you're allowed to then get reimbursed for that fee. I chose to not spend that money, and Dennis is going down to Public Works again real soon. Temporarily.
All right, well, is there any additional business then?
No, sir. I don't.
Mary, do you have anything down there?
I do not.
Anybody else in the audience, in this big audience we have here tonight? Okay, well, thanks for joining us. You guys have a great night. Meeting adjourned.